At the state capitol tonight, House Republicans are getting ready to review allegations Governor Katie Hobbs and other state leaders tried to censor social media posts they didn't like. A new oversight and accountability committee is set to meet next month.
It is a 3-member panel, and they'll be looking into legal and constitutional questions about the online activity of government officials. Our political editor, Dennis Welch, is in the newsroom tonight to explain this. Dennis?
Yeah, and the announcement of this committee followed a report that was detailing that as Secretary of State, Hobbs and her staff asked Twitter, now renamed X, and Facebook to remove certain posts. The chairman of the new committee told me that he and other House GOP leaders have been planning this committee for several months. Now, State Representative Alexander Culloden, a Republican from Scottsdale, said some of the information from that report on Hobbs will likely show up during that hearing on September 5th. According to the article, which was written by a former staff member of Republican Governor Doug Ducey, Hobbs asked social media sites to remove posts that they considered to be spreading misinformation. Asking a private entity like Twitter or X to remove inaccurate information and disinformation crosses the line, according to Culloden.
If you are a government official and you are in your official capacity asking for speech to be taken down or hidden from the public, you are engaging in censorship.
Responded in part by saying nobody is trying to censor anyone. They just can't handle the consequences of their free speech. Free speech does not come without consequences, and that's what they're having to deal with right now. I did speak with a First Amendment attorney from ASU, and he told me that he defines censorship as when government threatens or tries to force someone to remove any type of information. Back into you guys.
Dennis, really quickly, do we know the makeup of this new panel or committee?
It's going to be a 3-member committee. There'll be 2 Republicans on that and 1 Democrat on that committee. Now, the important part about all of this is, they hold these hearings, they listen to this stuff, and ultimately what will probably come out of this is that Culloden and some of his colleagues down at the legislature will probably write some new legislation in response to what they learn in this committee. That's what you typically see come out of the Capitol in events like this.
Dennis, thanks.